Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to start a brand new series looking at some key hands from the 10k Super Millions event on GG. This event, I'm just going to check, was streamed on the 16th of August 2022. We're going to look at 4 hands. In today's video, we're just going to look at the first hand. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so you can see 6-5 suited goes for the open and 6s is going to go for the jam. The reason why I think this is a really interesting hand, I'm just going to pause it there, is you can see the small blind's got ace-jack off here and the big blind has pocket 8s. Now, both of those players fold, and so today I want to look at what the small blind's supposed to do and what the big blind's supposed to do as well. Now, don't forget that, especially with the pocket 8s, yes, he's probably ahead of the hijack's jamming range here, but he's also got to think about the opener. He doesn't know that he's got 6 high, right? So let's take a look at the solution and see what we can learn. All right, so here is the opener's opening range, and you can see 6-5 suited makes it in there a little bit of the time, but it's very marginal and would definitely be bottom of range. And then we can take a look at the hijack's jamming range, and you can see it's 6s plus, ace-8 suited, ace-10 off, king-queen off, king-jack suited as well. So interesting to see that pocket 6s is actually the bottom of his jamming range here. Pocket 5s through 2s, they're just going to fold. And yeah, this is a pretty tight range. I mean, if you think about it, you know, if we just click through here, we can see that the opener isn't going to fold any hands. So he's got a couple of things to think about. I keep saying he, but could obviously be a she as well. I don't know this player. So they've got the players left to act behind, they need to think about, plus getting it in against, you know, the complete opening range. Yeah, there's no fold equity here. The opener is going to call with every single hand that they open in this spot. So against this jamming range, let's first look at the small blinds strategy. And you can see ace-jack off, definitely not in there. He doesn't want to raise, he doesn't want to 4-bet jam. So you're looking at basically 10s plus ace-queen in this spot. Some hands want to jam, a little bit of ace-queen suited, ace-king suited, and ace-king off. But it is a very big jam here. And yeah, got to be thinking about that in this spot. So let's now look at the big blinds range, and you can see it's ace-queen off plus, ace-jack suited plus, and 9s plus. And pocket 8s is... yeah, it's in there a little bit of the time. If we ran this for even longer, maybe for higher abstraction, I think 8s would probably just drop out completely. So it's really looking like 9s plus ace-queen off, ace-jack suited. So 8s is actually a really good fold in this spot. So we could just leave the analysis there, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me to spend a long time running this sim. Whenever you run a 9-handed sim on a final table like this, it takes quite a long time to run. So rather than just go, oh, do you know what? Let's just look at the actual hand as it played out. Instead, why don't we look at some other situations that could have occurred? For example, you could say to yourself, right, if you're Chris Frank under the gun, what is your opening range? And you could come up with an opening range, and then you can have a look at what it looks like in the solution. So under the gun's opening range here, really tight. 11% of hands, ace-jack off, not making it in there full frequency. Actually folding some like queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited, king 9 suited sometimes. These pairs down here really not doing very well at all, and a real sort of bias on this suited aces front. So the same thing actually goes for the player next to him as well. He's got fewer chips, but he's also opening a very tight range, 12.2%. Now, if we just open up the bubble factors and risk premiums here, you can see that the hijack has this 5.6 big blind stack, and this is what is affecting everyone's strategy, really. You can see that even middle position doesn't get to open too wide here because their risk premium here is 21.8% against the middle position 2 player, so the low jack, and 21.8% against the small blind. So what would happen if they open too many hands, they're going to have to fold a lot when they get 3-bet. And that's not what they're going to want to do. So that what ends up happening is it affects their opening range, and they end up opening a much tighter range. So if we go back to the original hand, let's say that pocket 6s didn't have pocket 6s, he had pocket 2s and he folded. What would ace-jack off do in the small blind? And what would 8s then do in the big blind? So versus the middle position open, then we can go to the small blind. You can see ace-jack off is just going to call. And then in the big blind's just going to overcall with pocket 8s. And you can see the overcall range here is really tight. We're not seeing all of these suited hands in here. We're letting go of a lot of offsuit hands. There's a real sort of focus and bias again on the suited connectors and suited gappers for the big blind to call. Now, if the small blind did fold, we can have a look at the big blind's defending range. Quite similar, maybe a little bit wider because only having to play against one player and realize equity against one player now. But you can see pocket eights would just go into a calling range. And if we go a little bit further up those pairs, you can see that pocket queens actually is also just a call. And this is because we don't want to 3-bet to induce pocket queens here. You can see our induce range starts really at ace king suited because pocket kings is just a jam and pocket queens is just a call. So if we go back to our bubble factors, and you can take a look, big blind versus middle position 1, risk premium is really high, 16.3%. So what would end up happening, you 3-bet too many hands, you get jammed on, and you'd have to fold a lot because that extra risk premium, that extra 16.3% is a lot. And you're going to struggle to find hands that have enough equity against the middle position's jamming range that sort of satisfy that raw equity plus the risk premium. So that's just one example. There are plenty more that we could take a look at in this individual sim. Make sure you check out the video next week because we're going to be taking a look at another spot and diving in deeper into many other situations within that sim as well. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below on what you think about this style of video, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.